Okay, so this is my second time trying to make this video because I just recorded all of it and then I went to edit it and then realized my entire screen was just black the entire time. So we're gonna try and do this again. But basically, I've been noticing that a lot of shorts channels and just news channels in general are only really covering the top 1 levels when it comes to difficult stuff. I mean, they occasionally cover Tidal Wave if there's some crazy progress made, and of course they'll cover your Heliopolis, your Sweeping Demon 2, and your Society, but I feel like a lot of the achievements that are just a tiny bit easier than that get left out, even though they're majorly important, and the one we're going to be talking about today is no exception. This is Hover, and he's been trying to verify a potential top 5 for a couple months now, and the reason we're making this video is because he recently got 69%, which is the final wave of this level. Don't be fooled by this percentage, there's quite a long end screen, but yeah, he is pretty much at the door to verifying this level. Now, you may be wondering why I'm saying that this is harder than Tidal Wave in the title. I mean, I think I said that in the title. I don't know why I'm labeling it yet. But as you can see, it's top 5, right? It's below Tidal Wave according to Hover. And we'll get into that a bit later. But first, let's just talk about this specific run. So I probably don't need a whole section explaining what Silent Acropolis is. You've probably guessed by just looking at it. It is a super buffed version of Acropolis with redecoration. Like, the Purgatory didn't super buff it themselves. This was a original level that was just super buffed Acropolis, and then they decorated that. But besides the point, as you can see, it's super duper tight, and it's pretty short, but literally nearly every click here is a near frame perfect or a frame perfect of some form. As you can see, this part is crazy. So originally I said that this was a break part in my last video because we've covered Hover before on this channel and I was mentioning a different progress he got. And yeah, I said that this was a break part because in Acropolis it is, so I just assumed in this it is. But apparently I didn't realize how hard these clicks are. I will show you how hard they are in a sec, but just keep in mind that these are very, very difficult. This is where he died last time. He died in the middle of this section, but he passed it recently, and he went on to actually get a decent part of the wave done. As you can see, he actually got all the way to 69 here, and then if he got on a bit further past this, he would have actually beaten the level. Now, Hover has been making progress on this level very quickly. He's been streaming it for a couple months. As you can see here, he has 15 public Silent Acropolis streams. He does play a lot off camera from zero, but he has streamed a decent amount over the past couple months. And as we can see, less than a month ago, he got the level in 2 runs. And then just over a week ago, he got 62%, and then if we go to his live stream, he got 64% a day ago, and then we go to videos, and he's already at 69%. He's making incredible progress. This could be verified literally any day now. He can fluke the wave, I believe it. I'm sure he's over-practiced it a ton due to the nature of it. So yeah, literally any day, we could see a level potentially harder than Tidal Wave get verified, which is crazy, because pretty much every level here has been verified by just a super duper top player that is part of like the big 3, you could say. Like Thinking Space 2 verified by Zoink, Flame Wall wasn't actually, Amethyst verified by Popoff, Tidal Wave verified by Zoink, Orbit verified by Zoink, Nullscapes verified by Zoink, Quantius Processing verified by Zoink. You get the picture here. Most things in the top 10 currently are just being verified by the proest of the pros, you could say. And Hover is still really good. He is actually currently the best player in Austria. However, I think it's just going to be refreshing seeing a level potentially harder than Tidal Wave be verified by someone who isn't, the best. We saw it with Quattrocientos, and that was really, really cool, so I'm glad we're seeing it again. But we should probably cover why am I saying this is harder than Tidal Wave, right? Because Hover himself thinks it's easier, so why are we saying it's harder than Tidal Wave? Well, as you guys probably know, Hover has actually buffed this version from the one that he was given to by the ThePurgatoryTeam, and so this video goes over how hard this could be. And as you can see, using CBF, this is what this video is going to go by, showing you how hard the clicks are, so you can just look at that to understand what's being shown on screen here. But as you can see, because this is a timing level, pretty much every click here is a frame perfect or near frame perfect on some form of FPS, right? This is stupid, and this is with CBF. This is, I genuinely don't know how this is possible. This level has a ship frame perfect, which I don't know if you guys understand how crazy that is, because ship is the most controlled game mode. It's not like wave or ball where you just click up and down. You have to control this thing's gravity, which is super difficult, right? So the fact that it's a ship frame perfect is that is a pain. But yeah, pretty much every single click here is doing something. And then this is the supposed break part I talked about. But then look at this. 1 frame there. 2 frame there. And another 1 frame there. Like, that is crazy. And then this wave, it looks like spam, but then it's just constant hard click after hard click after hard click. I don't know how this is possible. Based on the calculations, this is apparently top 4 to 5. Now, keep in mind, looking at frame perfects and just like how many frames each individual click has in window is not necessarily the best way to measure skill. It's definitely a way to estimate the level's difficulty. However, just because something has frame perfects doesn't mean it's inherently harder than something that has less. Shardscapes is a really good example of that. However, it does give us a relative idea, and keep in mind that this level is a timing level. I feel like it's more valid to use them in timing levels like Silent Acropolis, where the whole point of them is that they have low windows, than something like a gimmick level or a memory level, which is why I think using it on like Orbit is ridiculous, but using it here isn't. Even Nickname, who's a current top player, wonders how this is apparently easier than Tidal Wave, and Hover himself says that this is still easier than Tidal Wave, he'll die on this hill. So the fact that top players are saying it's harder than Tidal Wave and Hover is saying that it's easier makes me think that if it is harder than Tidal Wave, I don't think it's that much harder. I think it probably is number 4. I don't think it's as hard as anything like Thinking Space 2 or Amethyst or Flamewall, but I think this is probably definitely harder than Tidal Wave because every other source is claiming it's harder, but Hover is claiming it's easier, and this could just be bias. But we do have to take in mind this guy is the verifier. He probably has the best opinion on the level. So take this with a grain of salt, but I do think this could be harder than Tidal Wave. What I find specifically ridiculous is, as you can see, he has 82,000 total attempts. To put that into perspective, I talk about Tidal Wave victors a lot on this channel. We've covered Tidal Wave a ton, and during that, when I cover these people, usually their attempt counts are over 100,000, or they're expected to reach 100,000 by the time they finish beating the level. In some cases, we've even seen 200, 300, and 400,000 attempts, and even over 1,000,000 in extreme cases. But this guy, Hover, is verifying a level that is potentially harder than Tidal Wave, or even harder. And he's done it in under 100k attempts. I mean, obviously, he didn't beat the level. He has 69%. He's gotten to the last part. But it's just the sheer fact that he still has 18,000 more attempts before hitting that 100k mark, and the fact that he could beat this level any attempt by now, it should put into perspective how crazy this guy is. He's actually cracked. And this is to be expected because Hover isn't just a nobody. Like I said before, he's the best player in Austria, and he has top 10s under his belt. He has beaten Nullscapes, which is a top 5 extreme demon at the time, and currently it's sitting at 6. And I think that Nullscapes, out of any of the top 10, does translate in skill a lot better to something like Silent Acropolis. Even though Nullscapes only has a robot, I think the kind of clicks you need to do is, and the windows that you have to do them, I think it does match up a lot with Silent Acropolis. This guy is a super good player, so I kind of expected him to progress this fast, but I also didn't at the same time because this is like near daily progress on a level this hard. I genuinely don't believe it. He's super cracked. And again, I feel like no one's talking about this, even though these videos aren't necessarily doing poorly. 31,000, 26,000 views isn't actually that bad, especially for what he averages. It was even more than his Nullscapes completion, so it's clear that a lot of people aren't seeing this, but I feel like the wider community isn't, because I feel like these shorts creators don't cover him too much, and I think they should. And I think you should also check out his live streams. I pop in from time to time. They're pretty enjoyable. But yeah, Hover, super goated player. Go check him out. This is also just a scary time for the demon list because when we have levels like this, keep in mind we already have a level pending that could be in the top 15, which means Abyss of Darkness is soon to be out the top 20. And then add on this level if it gets verified, that puts Menace at the top 20. And so we're seeing levels like Spectre, Acheron, and Avernus about to fall out the top 20, which is absolutely crazy. And this isn't even the only thing we're seeing progress on the top end of levels. Nullscapes has been getting a lot more progress from people recently. Actually, Wave Trials, obviously, is a big race to be first victor with that. I know I covered it before, but even more progress has happened. So much, in fact, that the list percent got raised to 77 to keep up with it. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think it's really cool, and I want to keep track on more of these stuff because, honestly, I think something that's a lot more interesting than the best of the best players beating future top 1 levels is these still really, really good, but not like the top 3 big 3 best players playing levels that are harder than Tidal Wave, something that just a couple years ago was the skill limit, and they're beating these levels. They're just harder than it, and I don't get how they're doing so. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say. Go support Hover. Go support the Purgatory team for actually making this level. I feel like I haven't really talked about them in this video. I personally think it's one of their better works. I know a lot of people were scared to touch this because the decoration made it harder, but I still think as a level, this ended up being near perfect. I think it was great execution, probably one of their better remakes. But yeah, don't much more to say other than that. Thanks for watching, and peace.